This video gives a review of how to add integers, do order of operations with integers, and some operations with exponents. So the first thing, when we're adding integers, we have two different sets of rules. Either the integers have the same signs or they have different signs. So if they have the same signs, we add and keep. So for example, 3 plus 7 is going to give us 10. Negative 8 plus negative 4. 8 plus 4 is 12, so it's going to give us negative 12. Negative 4 minus 5. Really, we'll talk about that later. It's really negative 4 plus negative 5, which is negative 9. Remember, negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. Because 2 plus 3 is 5. If our integers have different signs, the rule is to subtract and keep the sign of the number farther away from 0 or a little larger number without a sign. So negative 4 plus 7, 7 minus 4 is going to be 3, so it's going to be positive 3 because 7 is farther from 0. 5 plus negative 3 is going to be 2. Negative 9 plus 5 is going to be negative 4, because 9 minus 5 is 4. Negative 9 is bigger. 2 plus negative 1 is going to be 1. Next, we are going to subtract integers. So the rule for subtracting integers is to add the opposite. And the best way to do this is to rewrite them as addition. So like 6 minus negative 7 is going to become 6 plus 7, which is positive 13. 2 minus negative 7 is going to become 2 plus 7, which is positive 9. Negative 10 minus negative 8 is going to become negative 10 plus 8. Then I follow the rules for addition. This should be negative 2. And finally, I have negative 6 plus 3, which is going to be negative 3. The rules for multiplying and dividing integers are actually pretty similar. For multiplying, the product of two integers with the same sign is going to be positive. The product of two integers with different signs is going to be negative. So in our little chart, a positive times a positive is going to give me a positive. Positive times a negative is negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. And a negative times a positive is a negative. So you don't need to think about like what rule you follow when you're multiplying or dividing. You multiply the numbers normally and then decide what your sign is. So 10 times 2 is 20. It's going to be a positive 20 because negative negative makes a positive. 16 times 8 is 128. It's going to be a negative 128 because I have a positive and a negative. And 30 times 40 is 120. It's going to be negative because there's a negative and a positive. When I divide the quotient of two integers with the same sign as positive, with different signs is going to be negative. So similar to multiplication, a positive divided by a positive is a positive. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. And a negative and a positive make a negative. So 50 divided by negative 5 is going to be a negative 10. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 is going to be a positive 4. And negative 135 divided by 5 is going to be a negative 27. When we think about the order of operations, one way to remember it is to remember the mnemonic device, the acronym PEMDAS, where we look at the P standing for parentheses. Sometimes it's called GEMDAS, which means the G would just be grouping symbols. So any kind of parentheses, brackets, anything like that. Then once we've done the parentheses, we do the exponents next. Finally, we have multiplication and division. If multiplication and addition are in the same expression, we go from left to right. So it's not like multiplication comes first, so we do that. We do whichever one comes first. So if division's first, do that first. Same thing for adding and subtracting. The AS stands for add and subtract. Same thing, we're going to do those from left to right. Okay, so one of the examples, another way to look at this is, you might have done this last year, is where you circle the terms. So like I would circle the 28, then I would circle this whole thing because it's separated by a plus sign. So I'm going to rewrite it as 28 plus 16 minus 2 squared times 3. 2 squared is 4. So 16 minus 4 times 3. So then I would do the multiplication next. So I get 28 plus 16 minus 12. 16 minus 12 is 4. So I'm going to get 28 plus 4. It's going to be 32. The last thing that I wanted to go over with you guys before you started the activity was exponents with negative bases. So a negative base raised to an even power is going to be a positive number, because negative 4 to the second power is negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Or when it's raised to an odd power, it's going to be negative. So negative 4 raised to the third power is negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 is going to be a negative 64, because these two make a positive 16, and then I have a positive times a negative. And then this part down here, you want to note of the parentheses, this is negative 3 squared. So it's negative 3 times negative 3. Where the second one means the opposite of 3 squared. So it means you're multiplying 3 times 3 first, and then finding the opposite, which will be negative 9. So you want to make sure that you understand the difference between those two, because if they're within an order of operations problem, this would be a positive answer, negative 3 to the second power, where the opposite of 3 squared is going to give me a negative answer. So let's do a couple of practice problems with that. So for 4 to the third power, I'm going to have 4 times 4 times 4, which is going to give me 16 times 4, which is going to be 64. This one is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So it's going to be 4 times 4 times 2, 16 times 2, or 32. This one, remember, is negative 3 times negative 3. So that's going to be a positive 9, where this is the opposite of 3 times 3, which is going to be a negative 9.